3, hit it!
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to today's Caffeine for the Soul. And today I want to talk about something that is going to be a little bit of a work in progress. You're going to hear me work through it because it's something that I really see and something that I've yet to find a great way of talking about. So bear with me and maybe we'll both see something more. And that thing is what I call obviousness. Human beings navigate by obviousness. In other words, we always do what makes sense to us in the moment that we do it. Even if part of us is thinking, well, why am I doing this? We're doing it because given the world that we are living in, given the thinking we have that looks real to us, it's the obvious thing to do. So if I live in a world, if I think that everyone is out to get me, then it is obvious that I need to protect myself, or I need to attack them before they can get me, or I need to do things so that they don't notice me, right? Those are just the obvious responses to a world where everyone is out to get you. If I live in a world where things are fundamentally rigged against me, where no matter what I do, it will never be enough because of whatever my version of the unfair world is, then it's obvious that there's no point in really going for anything. It's obvious that I'm better off kind of doing as little as possible and not really trying and not really applying myself because I'm just going to be screwed anyways. It's not really mysterious given the thinking I have that looks real to me, given the reality. I think actually the reality that I am living in is the thinking that looks real to me. And so given the thinking I have that looks real to me, given the reality that I am in, what I do is pretty obvious. Now, if we understand that we're navigating by obviousness, then it becomes obvious that if we want to change something, what has to change first is reality. Now, in this case, again, I'm using the word reality. I'm using it in the sense of the thinking we have that looks real to us. Now, people are not all out to get you, and some of them might be. Right? The world is not rigged against you, and some situations you might be starting at a different place than other people are. So the reason that we kind of know that our reality isn't that real is because reality is vast. Real reality is way beyond our thinking. It is filled with paradox and contradiction. The poet Walt Whitman said, "Do I contradict myself? Very well then, I contradict myself. I am vast. I contain multitudes." Well, life is vast. Life contains multitudes. Anytime it looks like it isn't, that's just thinking we have that looks real to us. So, if I understand that I'm always going to do the obvious, I'm going to do what makes sense to me to do, unless, again, here's another version of it. So I think that the way that things change is through will. I have to make them happen. If it's to be, it's up to me. Well, it's obvious then that if I want something to be, I'm going to have to do something about it. So even in that context, I'm doing what is obvious to me, what is apparent, what seems like common sense. But it's only obvious in that reality, in the thinking that looks real to me in that moment. And because thought is transient, thought is ephemeral, I can be in a different reality in a heartbeat. And I will continue to do what's obvious in that reality. Which is why when it comes to change changing your life, changing the lives of others, changing the world. The only way that's ever going to happen is when behaving in ways that lead to a better world are obvious to us. And as long as it doesn't look obvious, we're just not going to do it. As long as it doesn't look like common sense, we're not going to engage with it. We might try for a minute, but it won't sustain. So, as this is an exploration for me, I encourage you to make it an exploration for you. Start to notice if you ever do anything for a reason other than it seemed like a good idea at the time. Start to notice if, when it becomes apparent later that what you did was not the smartest thing you could have done, if you ever say anything to yourself other than some variation on, "What was I thinking?" Start to see the connection between the thinking that looks real to us and the things that we do or don't do. And start to explore what becomes possible if, instead of trying to change your behavior or change other people's behavior, you start to see beyond thinking, beyond the thinking that looks real to you, into the space of pure possibility, out of which all thought arises, and back into which all thought dissipates. Have fun, learn heaps, happy exploring, and I'll speak with you soon.